Welcome to Dive Zone, your space to go deeper into English, one episode at a time. If you're enjoying the journey, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a deep dive into language learning.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of our podcast. I'm Sam, and as usual, I'm here with the one and only Lily. What's up, Lily?
Hey Sam, hi everyone. I'm excited about today's topic. It's one that we all need to be reminded of sometimes. Good things take time.
That phrase is simple, but it hits differently when you've been waiting for something for a long time. Lily, what does it really mean to you?
To me, it's a gentle reminder that some of the best things in life can't be rushed. Whether it's healing from pain, building a dream, becoming the person you want to be, it all takes time. We often get impatient because we live in a world of instant everything. But personal growth and meaningful results don't work like that.
Right. I mean, we can order food in 5 minutes, talk to people across the world instantly, even see someone go viral overnight. It really makes patience feel outdated.
Exactly. And that's the danger. We're trained to expect results quickly. But the truth is, anything that's deep, strong, and meaningful takes time to build. Just like a tree. You can't plant a seed today and expect a full-grown tree tomorrow. It needs seasons. Rain, sunshine, and most of all, time.
That makes sense. But let me challenge you a little here. What about the people who have worked hard for years and still don't see results? Isn't there a point when it just becomes discouraging?
Absolutely, Sam. And it's normal to feel discouraged. It's human. But here's what I believe. Just because we don't see the progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Sometimes the growth is internal. Quiet, invisible, like the roots of a tree growing deep underground before anything breaks the surface. That unseen work is just as important.
So you're saying the time we spend waiting isn't wasted?
Yes, waiting is part of the becoming. Think of it this way. If you're training for a marathon, the muscles don't appear on day one. But every run, every stretch, every early morning adds up. Slowly, quietly. Then one day, it shows.
That reminds me of something personal. When I was learning public speaking, I used to panic every time I stood in front of people. My voice would shake, my palms sweaty. It was awful. I watched so many confident speakers and thought, how do they make it look so easy? I kept practicing, month after month. It took me 2 years, but now I can speak to a room without freezing. That growth didn't happen overnight.
Exactly. It's experiences like that which remind us that consistency matters more than speed. And the people we admire, those confident speakers, skilled artists, successful entrepreneurs, they weren't born like that. They've failed, waited, cried, wanted to quit, but they stayed the course.
I think one problem is we only see the end result. We don't see their sleepless nights, self-doubt, or rejections.
So true. We see the highlight reel, not the behind the scenes. That's why I love conversations like this. They help normalize the slow process. They remind us that we're not behind, we're just growing.
Lily, how do you personally deal with the frustration of waiting? Like when you've done everything right but still feel stuck?
I've been there, Sam, more than once. And it's hard. But one thing that helps me is reframing. Instead of asking, why is it taking so long? I ask, what am I learning right now? Or, how am I becoming stronger through this? That shift turns waiting into preparation. That's such a good mindset. Because when we think something is being withheld, we feel like victims. But if we think it's being prepared, we feel more empowered. Exactly. Patience becomes a strength instead of a punishment. And another thing, when I look back at the seasons I thought were wasted, I often realize they were the most important. That heartbreak that felt unbearable, it made me more compassionate. That job I didn't get, it pushed me toward a path that was more fulfilling.
It's interesting how sometimes when things fall apart, they're actually falling into place.
Yes, that's something I always say. Delays are not denials. Just because something didn't happen now doesn't mean it won't happen ever. The universe works on a timeline we often don't understand.
Let me ask you this. Do you think timing is more important than talent?
Ooh, that's a big one. I think both matter. Talent might get you noticed, but timing, divine timing, strategic timing, determines whether it sticks. You can be the most talented person in the room, but if the timing's not right, it won't land. Sometimes, we need to grow into our own talent before the world can receive it.
That reminds me of something I once read. You don't want to be seen too early before you're ready, because it might crush you instead of lift you.
Yes, it's like putting a cake into the oven and taking it out too soon. It looks done on the outside, but the inside is still raw. It collapses. But if you give it time, let it rise. It becomes something nourishing and complete.
What a delicious metaphor. Now I want cake and wisdom.
Ha. Well, life serves both, just not instantly. And even in relationships, this truth shows up. You might meet the right person at the wrong time. You might be in love, but if one of you hasn't healed or grown yet, it might not work. That doesn't mean it wasn't real. It just means time matters.
That's hard to accept sometimes, especially in love. Because we want it now, we want it to work now.
Of course. But real love, like anything else good, needs foundation. Trust, understanding, emotional maturity. Those things develop over time. Rushing it might give you fireworks, but patience gives you warmth that lasts.
Lily, have you ever had a dream or a goal that took much longer than you expected, but when it finally happened, you were glad it didn't happen sooner?
Yes. When I wanted to start mentoring people, I thought I was ready years ago. But looking back, I realize I still had a lot to learn about listening, guiding, and holding space for someone else's growth. If I had rushed into it, I might have done more harm than good. When the opportunity finally came, I felt prepared. Not perfect, but grounded. That made all the difference.
That's so real. I think a lot of us chase things before we're really ready to carry them, and then wonder why it didn't work out.
Exactly. Timing isn't just about the world being ready for us. It's also about us being ready for the world. When those two meet, that's when things align.
So, Lily, what do you think causes most people to give up during the waiting season? Is it impatience or something deeper?
It's a mix of things. Impatience, yes, but also comparison. When you're on your own journey and you see someone else getting what you want faster, it's easy to feel like you're behind or not good enough. That pressure can be crushing. And then there's self-doubt. Those little voices in your head that say, maybe you're not meant for this. Or, it's taking too long. Maybe it's not working.
Yeah, comparison is a killer. I remember when I started posting content online. I was proud of what I made, but then I'd see someone else go viral overnight while my posts barely got seen. I felt like quitting. But then I thought, if I'm doing this only for the numbers, am I really doing it from the heart?
That's such a powerful realization. If our motivation is only based on external validation, likes, views, applause, then we'll always be chasing something. But when the motivation comes from within, from love or purpose, we can endure the silence. We can keep showing up even when nobody's watching.
And that showing up part is really important. A lot of people stop showing up when they don't see results immediately.
Exactly. But consistency beats intensity every time. It's not about doing something perfectly once. It's about doing it consistently even when it's hard, boring, or unnoticed. That's how real things are built. That's how character is built.
That reminds me of bamboo trees. I once read that when you plant bamboo, you water it for years without seeing anything. But under the ground, it's growing roots. Then suddenly, in a matter of weeks, it shoots up meters high. It's not that the growth just happened. It was preparing all along.
Yes, that's one of my favorite analogies. The bamboo isn't slow, it's patient. It's doing the deep work before the visible work. And we're the same. Our growth isn't always visible, but that doesn't mean it's not real. Sometimes, the most important transformations are happening where nobody can see them.
Wow. That really shifts my perspective. So you're saying if someone's feeling stuck or invisible right now, they might actually be in their most important phase?
Absolutely. It might be the season of root building, a time for learning, strengthening, unlearning old patterns, preparing for what's coming. But because it's invisible, it's easy to dismiss. That's why we need faith. Not just in the world, but in ourselves, in our process.
Faith in the process. That's a tough one. How do you build that kind of faith when everything seems uncertain?
One way is by looking backward. Remind yourself of things you once thought would never work out. But somehow, they did. Look at the things you've survived. Look at the lessons you've learned. That history is proof that you're capable. And if it worked out before, maybe this too is part of something bigger.
That's so true. Sometimes we forget how far we've come because we're so focused on how far we have to go.
Exactly. Celebrate your past resilience. And also, surround yourself with people who remind you of your strength, not your lack. People who believe in you on the days you don't believe in yourself.
That's big. Because if you're around people who are always rushing, comparing, or pushing you toward instant success, it can make you feel like a failure when you're actually just in progress.
Yes. We need safe spaces where growth is honored, not rushed. Where slow is not seen as weak, and where effort is celebrated as much as achievement.
I wish more of us talked about that, especially online, because honestly, the pressure to make it fast is everywhere.
It is, and sometimes we mistake speed for success. But speed doesn't always equal depth. You can get somewhere fast, but will it last? Will it fulfill you? Good things take time because they're worth it, and you're worth that time.
That line right there, you're worth that time, that hits deep. Because we often rush not just because we want results, but because we think we don't deserve to take our time.
Yes. Some of us rush because we feel we're behind, or not enough, or that we have to prove our worth through quick success. But healing takes time. Forgiveness takes time. Becoming yourself takes time. And none of that makes you weak. It makes you real.
Lily, if someone listening to us right now is in that quiet season, they're working hard, doing their best, but seeing no results, what would you say to them?
I'd say, keep going. Your effort is not invisible. You may not see the fruit yet, but that doesn't mean the seed isn't growing. Trust the process. Give yourself permission to move slowly. Slow doesn't mean stuck. It means you're building something that lasts. And one day, you'll look back and realize that this quiet season was the one that shaped you the most.
That's powerful. Honestly, I feel like you're speaking to me too. There are areas of my life where I've been so impatient. But this makes me want to give myself a little more grace.
We all need that grace, Sam, especially when we're doing our best. We don't need more pressure. We need more compassion, for ourselves and for others. Because everyone's going through something, and we never really know how much time and strength it took just for someone to show up today.
That's so true, and I think that's why this topic is so important. Not just to remind ourselves that good things take time, but to remind each other. Because when we're surrounded by patience, empathy, and encouragement, we grow better.
Yes, growth is not a race, it's a rhythm, and everyone's rhythm is different. So wherever you are in your journey, slow, fast, paused, you're still on your way. And that's enough.
You said something earlier that stuck with me. Slow doesn't mean stuck. That's such a fresh perspective. I think a lot of us assume that if things aren't moving fast, then nothing's happening. It's a common misconception. We've been conditioned to associate movement with progress. But real transformation, it's often invisible at first, like when you're healing from something deep. People may not see the change from the outside, but you know you're growing stronger inside. Yeah, that inner progress, it's so real but so easy to overlook. I think about times when I've quietly worked through fear or self-doubt. Nobody saw it, but to me those were major breakthroughs.
Exactly. Those silent victories matter. Choosing to try again after failing, deciding to speak kindly to yourself after years of self-criticism, showing up for something even when your heart is scared, those are powerful acts. But because they don't come with applause or recognition, we underestimate their value.
And we live in a world that loves to celebrate outcomes, awards, milestones, big wins. But nobody sees the 4 a.m. tears, the rejections, the tiny steps.
Right. The world loves the highlight reel. But your growth isn't a highlight reel. It's a whole documentary. It's long, it's messy, and sometimes it feels like a slow crawl. But that's where the beauty is. The story isn't just about what you achieved. It's who you became along the way.
You know, there was a point when I was working on a personal project, writing something close to my heart. I kept doubting myself, wondering if anyone would care. It wasn't fast, it wasn't perfect, but I kept writing, and in the end, it changed me, even if no one else read it.
That's such a pure example. Sometimes the purpose of the work isn't even the result. It's the person you become in the process. When we give something our heart and time, even if it fails by external standards, we still grow from it.
And that's not a failure at all. Maybe that's the real success, becoming someone you're proud of, even if nobody's watching.
Exactly. We need to redefine what success means. Instead of asking, did it go viral? Or did it get attention? Maybe we should ask, did it grow me? Did it teach me patience, love, courage?
That shift in mindset changes everything. It turns life into a journey of becoming instead of just collecting achievements.
Yes, and that mindset also protects you during the hard seasons. Because when the goal isn't just an external reward, but internal growth, you don't give up just because it's hard. You begin to see that every delay, every detour, might actually be a necessary step in your becoming.
So instead of seeing obstacles as barriers, we see them as part of the shaping.
Exactly. Like pressure shapes diamonds. Fire purifies gold. Struggle, when approached with openness and courage, can build the strongest parts of us. But only if we don't rush through it. Only if we're willing to stay in the process long enough to be transformed by it.
That makes me think of all the times I wanted to escape a hard season. I didn't want to sit in the discomfort. I just wanted the pain to go away. But now I look back and realize that those seasons taught me the most.
Same here. I've had seasons where I was stuck, uncertain, even angry. I wanted answers, direction, anything but silence. But looking back, I was learning how to listen. I was learning how to be okay with not knowing. And that built resilience I never knew I needed.
It's almost like the silence has a voice too, if we're willing to hear it.
Yes, the waiting, the stillness. They speak. They ask us to trust, to surrender, to keep showing up even without a guarantee. That's one of the hardest lessons, but also the most powerful.
Do you think part of the reason people rush things is because they're afraid of what the silence will say?
Absolutely. Silence can be uncomfortable. It exposes our fears, our insecurities, our need for control. It's much easier to stay busy, chase fast results, and avoid the discomfort. But when you slow down and actually listen, you find clarity. You meet parts of yourself you've been avoiding.
So slowing down isn't just about patience, it's also about facing ourselves.
Exactly. That's why good things take time. Because good things aren't just built out there, they're built in here. In our hearts, our minds, our identity. And true, lasting things, things that come from alignment, not pressure, they require inner work.
This makes me want to change the way I measure progress. Like instead of saying, I didn't finish the project yet, I could ask, did I learn something today? Did I stay true to my values? Did I choose courage over comfort?
Yes, that's the shift. When you start measuring progress by presence, growth, and intention, not just output, you realize you're further along than you thought.
And it takes off the pressure too, because instead of chasing speed, you're nurturing depth.
That's it. And ironically, when you stop obsessing over outcomes, you often create better ones. Because you're more connected, you're more aligned, you're more you.
It's funny how we spend so much time trying to become someone, when really, the journey is about coming home to who we've always been.
Yes. And that version of you? The one who knows their worth, honors their pace, trusts the timing, that version of you creates from wholeness. And things created from wholeness have their own kind of quiet power.
That gives me a lot to reflect on. I feel like I've been chasing deadlines, goals, even identities, just to feel like I'm making progress. But maybe the real progress is becoming a little more kind, a little more grounded, a little more whole.
And that kind of progress doesn't disappear. It doesn't fade with trends or timelines. It stays with you. It supports everything else you build.
This conversation has slowed me down in the best way. Like I'm breathing differently just listening to your words.
That's beautiful to hear. Because that's the kind of energy we all need sometimes, not to speed up, but to pause. To remember we're not behind. We're just becoming. Sam, I think one of the biggest misconceptions people have is that if something is meant for you, it will come easily. But in reality, the things most worth having often come with effort, endurance, and time.
That's so true. I used to believe in that idea of effortless destiny, like if it's truly mine, I won't have to fight for it. But life doesn't work that way, does it?
Not usually. Think of anything precious: strong relationships, meaningful careers, deep wisdom. None of them appear overnight. They're cultivated. You have to show up consistently, even on days you don't feel like it. And that's where the transformation happens.
I guess we live in a culture that sells quick and easy like it's the only way to go. Quick results, fast love, instant gratification. But that's all surface level. It doesn't build roots.
Exactly. We crave fruit without nurturing the roots. But the deeper the roots, the stronger the tree. What's quick isn't always real, and what's real isn't always quick.
I'm thinking about how this plays out in friendships. Like the friendships I value most today weren't built in a few weeks. They were forged through seasons, celebrations, arguments, misunderstandings, and forgiveness.
Yes, real relationships need time to grow. Trust doesn't bloom in a day. It's built moment by moment, through honesty, consistency, and presence. And sometimes through silence too. The times when you just sit with someone in their mess and don't try to fix anything.
That's real connection, being seen in your unfiltered self. But that level of comfort only comes when time has softened the sharp edges.
Exactly. The longer you walk with someone, the more you understand their silences, their moods, their fears. It's like learning a language. And that takes time, but it's worth it.
Lily, as we continue, I'm curious, how can someone tell if they're truly practicing patience or just settling for less?
That's an insightful question, Sam. True patience isn't about settling or giving up. It's about maintaining effort and commitment while allowing time for growth. Settling means lowering your standards or quitting. Patience means staying steady despite the wait.
So patience requires ongoing action, not complacency?
Exactly. It's a dynamic balance, knowing when to push forward and when to let things unfold naturally.
How do you find that balance in real life?
By regularly reflecting on your progress and intentions. If you feel stagnant or disconnected, it might be time to reassess your approach. But if you're still learning, growing, and trying, you're practicing patience.
What about when patience starts to feel exhausting?
That's normal. Patience can be draining because it often involves uncertainty and delayed gratification. It helps to rest, recharge, and reconnect with your purpose.
How do you reconnect with purpose when things feel overwhelming?
Pause and revisit your why. Why did you start this journey? What does success mean to you? Sometimes writing it down or talking it through helps clarify your motivation.
It sounds like patience and purpose are linked.
They are. Purpose fuels patience, and patience helps you realize your purpose.
Let's talk about perfectionism. Does it interfere with patience?
Absolutely. Perfectionism can create unrealistic expectations and impatience with mistakes or slow progress.
So how do you manage perfectionism while practicing patience?
By embracing imperfection as part of growth. Celebrate progress over perfection, and see mistakes as valuable feedback rather than failure.
I've noticed that when I'm too focused on perfect results, I get frustrated quickly.
That's common. Shifting your mindset to appreciate the journey rather than just the outcome helps cultivate patience.
Can you share a technique to let go of perfectionism?
Try the good enough mindset. Ask yourself, is this good enough for now? Can I improve later? This helps you keep moving forward without getting stuck.
That's practical. Now, what role does hope play in patience?
Hope is essential. It's the optimistic belief that your efforts will eventually pay off, even if you can't see the results yet.
What if hope fades because of repeated setbacks?
That's tough, but remember, hope can be renewed by small wins, support from others, and revisiting your core reasons for pursuing your goals.
How can someone build hope during difficult times?
Surround yourself with positive influences, read inspiring stories, and practice gratitude for what's going well.
That ties back to gratitude again.
Yes, gratitude and hope often go hand in hand, both sustaining patience.
Lily, what would you say to someone who's lost faith that their patience will be rewarded?
I'd remind them that sometimes the most profound growth happens unseen, and the fruits of patience often arrive in unexpected ways and times.
That's reassuring. Can you share a final story to inspire listeners to keep practicing patience?
Sure. There's a story of a bamboo tree that spends years growing roots underground before it even breaks the surface. Then, within weeks, it shoots up dramatically. If the farmer gave up too soon, they'd never see the tree flourish. Patience in nurturing unseen growth leads to remarkable results.
I love that metaphor. It shows that patience isn't wasted time, but vital preparation.
Exactly. Trust the process like the bamboo tree. Roots grow quietly before the bloom.
Lily, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and stories. This has been such a meaningful conversation about how good things truly take time.
Thank you, Sam. It's been wonderful to explore patience deeply. To all our listeners, remember, stay committed, be kind to yourself, and trust the journey.
Thank you for listening to our podcast on Good Things Take Time. If this conversation resonated with you, please share it, subscribe, and keep believing in your journey. Until next time.
Thanks for watching Dive English Zone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, drop a comment below, and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming lessons. See you in the next one.